Welcome to Under the Rug at Work, where we shine light on things that are normally swept under the rug. I'm your host, Nicole Turnbull, and today I'm chatting with Amy Christopherson about how to lead more with heart. Amy's the founder of Grounded HR and a HR business partner. Amy, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really looking forward to this chat.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I love the premise of your podcast, and I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, and we had a chat earlier. Uh, we had a chat earlier, but it was late last year
Yeah.
about how leadership styles are changing and how we're going more from being a boss to a mentor. And you've seen it, and yeah, I'm super excited about what we're going to chat about because it is really the way forward. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about your background and experience and why you started Grounded HR, just for people who might not have met you before?
Sure, I'd love to. So I have been in HR for around 20 years. I started out working in the mining industry and many different other bigger corporations. And I guess I never really felt like I fitted there, that it wasn't the right place for me to make my impact in this space. And so after having a little midlife crisis and becoming an early childhood teacher and raising my kids, I came back to HR. And, I really wanted to specialize in the spaces where that people don't get access to HR. So it's in that small to
Mm.
medium business space that they just don't, I guess, partly understand the importance of it, but also there's like a limited number of people who support that space. So that's where I found myself supporting businesses in that area. And I recently rebranded to be Grounded HR last year, and it's been so freeing. And I absolutely am all about leading with heart and creating a different kind of leadership style moving forward, because I believe that that's where the success comes.
And you see it in everyday work, right? So
Yeah.
what we're talking about is, getting rid of the old leadership styles and leading more with your heart. What does that mean specifically for you?
For me, I guess it means more about seeing people as a whole person. It's seeing that, their work life is not the only thing that makes up that person. So it's being empathetic towards that. And, with COVID and all those things, it's really shown us that people can be really successful through flexibility and by giving them, entrusting them with being able to complete their work. And it's not necessarily about how much time people put in, it's about the impact and the work that they do. And I guess that's why, those kind of things are so important for leaders to recognize, so that they're now approaching managing their employees or connecting with their employees in a different way.
Mm.
It's not about delegating tasks and all of those kind of things anymore. It's more around making sure your people are okay, creating a workplace where the values align with the person's values, with the culture, with their way of working, that people are passionate about what they're doing. No longer can you pay a person a good wage and just delegate them work that's unfulfilling and they'll hang around, because
Mm.
loyalty doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, people want to go to work and do a good job, and they want to be supported to do that, not just dictated and have that real task focus. Like, we are people as well, and building those relationships has so much benefit.
Oh, 100%. And people they want to be part of the vision. So if you're not communicating the vision, if you're not communicating the road or the path that we're on, then how are you going to expect a person to be really committed to where you're heading if you're not communicating it to them and allowing them to be part of the decision-making process and a part of, the impact that your business can make. So I think that's a real transition point, that it's not, yes, the leader of the business or the owner of the business is there to create the direction, but
Mhm.
it's the people. They've got to realize it's the people behind the scenes. It's the other people in the organization that are going to bring that to fruition,
Yeah.
and so you need to nurture that.
Yeah. And if you've got an entire team, focused on the vision and focused on going in the same direction, you can move mountains. We've heard that quote, right?
100%, 100%. And the path can be so much faster when everybody's committed to it, right? And
Yeah.
everyone has a clear idea of where they play a part in that journey.
Mm. And you can feel it too when someone's not on board, when there's conflict and there's that real roadblock. Um, in the organizations that you work with, what conflicts do you see most often and what usually triggers that?
I feel like the conflict is where they sweep it under the rug and they let people not like they're not addressing underperformance issues, or where people are showing and demonstrating to you that they're not aligned with the business, and people are too scared to ask why.
Yeah.
Like, what you need to ask the person why they're doing what they're doing or not doing what they're doing. And a lot of small businesses think, oh, I don't need to performance manage my people, but it sounds scary, but it's not. It's about having a conversation. It's
Mm,
about having conversation and making sure that they understand what their job is, that they understand what your expectations are. And then it's also keeping them accountable, because,
mm.
if without that accountability piece, then it can go on for years. People
Yeah.
have kept people because it's just easier to ignore it and sweep it under the rug than it is to deal with it and have that potential confrontation, which is uncomfortable. I hate it just as much as all the leaders do.
Yeah.
I had a client the other day say to me, oh, you look a little bit, are you okay? And I'm like, actually, yeah, I am okay. But these kind of situations make me uncomfortable as well.
Mm,
I feel like I want the best for that person, but it's really hard to deliver bad feedback or constructive criticism to them. So,
mm.
but that shows you're human too. And I
Yes.
guess that's what's really important, that you verbalize that these kind of situations don't make me feel comfortable either, but we want the best outcome for everybody.
Yes. And focusing on the outcome rather than the situation often really helps, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the fact that you can say to a person, I believe in you. I know you can do these things.
Mm,
Um, but we just need to start the path, and check in when we need help. And I'm here to mentor you. I'm here to help you.
mm.
But without that open dialogue between the two of us, that's really, really difficult.
Yes. And that dialogue comes from relationships and, the more empathetic style that we're talking about. So
Absolutely.
for perhaps leaders and HR professionals wanting to move to that, where should they begin? Do you have any practical steps that you could recommend straight away for people who are listening and going, oh gosh, I need this?
Absolutely. I think what I see in leaders who really do value their people, it's that they don't first jump on their emails first thing in the morning when they get to the office. That's not where your attention should be placed.
Yeah.
Your attention should be placed on your people. Look at how your people are turning up to work. It's really becoming a much better observer of the business. Are
Mm,
people turning up in a good mood? Do they want to be there? All of those kind of things, because that data is going to really feed into how you're going to manage your day and how you're going to manage your people. So I think starting your day with a people focus rather than diving straight into the tasks at hand really does change your leadership style, because it shows, by having a conversation with your people, you're showing you care.
yeah.
And a lot of the time, you might turn a whole person, they might have had the most horrendous morning. They might have dealt with children who were refusing to get in the car to go to daycare, or, teenagers who were like grunting at them as they walked out the door. Like, there could be so many things that a person has dealt with before they hit, the start button on their day at work.
Mm,
And if you just recognize, hey, you look like you need a cup of tea. Do you want to come to the kitchen and get a cuppa together?
yeah.
That's going to really like change the way their day starts. So I think by doing little things on a daily basis that
Mm,
really starts to show that you're a much more caring leader and you actually care who the person is.
yeah. I've been in a workplace where senior leaders would come in and just grunt. They wouldn't even recognize anyone. So everyone was like, oh gosh, what's wrong with them? What have I done wrong? Is it me? And I would come in and say, good morning. And often it would be it would take a little bit more time to get to your office if you're lucky enough to have an office
Yeah,
anymore.
that's right. Yeah.
But the relationships that you build and the connections that you have. So I was able to turn around and go, "Oh gosh, I've got this. I don't know what to do. Can you help?" And people were more excited to support and help when you built that relationship rather than grunting at people because you might not have had a nice morning.
It becomes reciprocal, right? So
Yeah.
if you start to show care for your employees when you turn up in a bad mood,
Mhm.
because that's inevitably going to happen as well, then
Yeah.
hopefully it comes back the other way that they're going to touch base and say, "Hey, you look like you've had a rough morning. Can I
Yeah.
help you now?"
Yeah.
And back the other way. So it becomes a much more beautiful process of being at work for however many hours a day, when you can be recognized each way that everybody's human and they're always going to have good days and bad days.
Exactly. We are all human, and
Mhm.
the benefits outweigh any of the things that we feel like conflict is uncomfortable. I don't want to have this discussion with them. Like the benefits of delving into that, being vulnerable, being empathetic, being human, out like significantly outweigh it. But can you share, what you've seen happen when leaders embrace this human focus and the supportive style?
Oh, absolutely. I believe, I've got a few clients that, are my stars, that really listen to what you say and do what you ask. And part of it is that it's innate, like it's built into them that they do those things. But the businesses I see that are most successful are ones that build that culture of a team, build are really clear on what's important to them.
Yeah.
And usually it is that family is just as important as work as well. So I
Yeah.
think that having those kind of skills, and it's something that you can build. Like, you don't have to have all, not all of us were provided with parents or seniors who showed us how to do these things, but they're absolutely skills that you can practice and learn on a daily basis. You know,
Mm.
no, I was listening to Adam Grant is one of my favorite people, and I was listening to his new book, which the title escapes me, Hidden Potential, the other
Yes.
day as an audiobook. And the studies that have been shown that just by showing people how to have this more empathetic and human focused leadership style, that their potential in the future is like tenfold compared to people who are taught skills at the
Mm.
same time. So the potential sales, turnover, wage payments that a person will receive can multiply exponentially based on having these human skills.
Yeah. I was just talking to a client about exactly that, because they were looking at a hiring strategy and had difficulties with people. And I think John Maxwell says the same thing. You need to be looking at hiring based on behaviors. Skills can be learnt, and yes, definitely you need skill sets in some areas, definitely,
Absolutely.
but you really should be putting behaviors up there with the skill sets, empathy, leadership qualities, especially if you're leading a team, um,
100%.
how to
Yeah.
create that psychological safety, because it is really hard to train that as a skill
Mhm.
versus training on the job task skills. That's
Yeah.
much easier.
Absolutely. You can
Yeah.
teach a person how your way of working in your business um, quite easily, by setting up career mentoring, by setting up leadership mentoring, all of those kind of things. Those are skills that can be learned, but it's those people and behavioral skills that showing a person who is motivated, who is driven, who has goals,
Yeah.
all of those kind of things are, huge ticks for me when I'm bringing a new person into a team.
Yes. Because you can't motivate an unmotivated person. They need to do it.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes I've been a huge personal journey myself over the last 18 months to make sure that I was doing what I was really passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think that across that time, I did so much internal work and realized I was holding on to stories from past workplaces. I was holding on to stories from my family that weren't necessarily mine, and all of those kind of stuff. And if you hire and bring people who have that personal growth focus,
Mm,
um, absolutely, they're going to be your star employees over time.
yeah.
I try and instill that in my children now. It's really difficult to get a teenager on board for those kind of things, but
Yep.
they're about to walk into the workplace as well. And that's what I keep encouraging. I'm like, you need to think about what you'd like to do this year.
Mm,
What's really important to you? What sets your heart on fire is one of my standard conversations of like, what really like gets you going and what's
yeah.
really exciting for you. And I guess having those conversations with people when you bring them into a team is so
Yeah.
important because you're going to see straight away the glint in their eye as to whether they're actually passionate about what the job that they're applying for.
Yeah, definitely. And imagine the world we would live in if we were all living our spark.
Oh, 100% amazing. Imagine, just imagine when I bring people onto my team. I mean, I have a team of subcontractors. The first conversation I ever have with them is always, the door is always open for you to have a conversation with me if you're no longer doing the work that sets you on fire. I
Yeah.
want to know the minute you realize that this is not what you're meant to be doing anymore, because
Hmm.
I'll find someone else to do those tasks.
Yeah.
And that's how my team has grown over time because I bring everybody in their area of specialty, and
Yeah.
there's never an issue about work being completed, about things being done to a high standard because they're doing the things they love to do and that really excite them.
Yeah.
And we all need to be building our businesses in that way.
Definitely. And this has been such an insightful conversation. I hope that people can take away from this, like even just that passion. You can hear it in you and I. We love what we
Yeah,
do, and to be able to help make it easier for workplaces in different areas is just what lights us up, right? And
yeah.
imagine having a workplace full of that. Like that's really what you want is people you loving to be there, them loving to be there, and getting to that is asking the right questions and really finding out about
That would
your
that would be my dream to have a whole list of clients that all love what they do and
Mm,
all of their employees loving also what they do, because that's my mission in life, is to make sure that everybody realizes that people are important
yes.
and that we're all human and that we all, deserve to be happy in what we're doing.
Yes, love it. Absolutely love it. And for anyone who's listening at the moment who wants to connect with you and find out more, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. You can connect with me on my website, which is groundedhr.com.au. And we're also sharing heaps of great insights and things on Instagram and Facebook at groundedhr.au.
Fantastic. Amy, thank you so much for joining me on Under the Rug at Work. I really appreciate it and really loved our chat. And for anyone listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And I'll catch you next time where we'll continue to shine light on issues that are too often swept under the rug.